Hello and welcome to the Juggling Podcast, episode number 44 of this season of the Patreon exclusive podcasts, although this one I might just put out for everyone to download and listen to. My name is Luke Burge. Joining me today, like normally, is Juliana. Say hi, Juliana.
Hello, everyone.
And last month, we were at the European Juggling Convention. Oh, it's actually September now, isn't it? This podcast is a bit late. After we went to the European Juggling Convention in Madrid, or Tres Cantos in Spain, we had a few more weeks of holidaying. So we went camping in France, went to Austria to spend a week with Juliana's parents in a wood cabin in Austria.
Yeah.
Went mountain biking. And
it was a lot of fun.
And eating and walking and going on steam trains and drinking wine and all the kind of stuff that you want to do on holiday. And then we got back and we were like, all right, now it's time to do the podcast. But Juliana had to go and do a concert, and then she had a week at work, and now I've been a bit ill. I've got this bad ear infection. Anyway, I'm going on a work trip tomorrow. This is the last chance we can do it. I really want to get it out by the end of August, but I guess September 3rd is going to have to do here.
Well, yeah, it's good.
My apologies to everyone, but hopefully you enjoyed the videos that came out from the European Juggling Convention, all our Patreon supporters who supported us through that. There are actually 2 more videos still to come. There's a more general Fight Night highlight video, which I've already started working on. And then at the last episode of the podcast, we were talking about the new game that we wanted to do at the European Juggling Convention, which was the EJC Cup of the Day.
Yes.
Which is a new ball juggling competition that we did, a daily competition. And I've got all of the video. We videoed all of it. It's just quite a lot to actually go through that one.
Of course.
I'm going to make a video about it. I just want to say that was a success, and I would like to do it again next year or at a future EJC. What to say about that? It was good, wasn't it?
It was good. It was good. Not only good for the people taking part, but also for people who just wanted to sit down and watch. So I think that was a nice entertainment.
Yeah, the first day was a bit slow and not many people knew what was going on. But by the last day, it was, it was pretty good hype. And I think, you know what? I really like that we ended with a 9-ball race, the race of 9-ball flash. I think I want to do that every time. So people know that on the Friday, the 9-ball race is going to be where it's at. So people have something to change. And everything, like the previous 4 days, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll make a video about that where, show the highlights of that and talk a bit more about it. So that was good fun. Anyway,
also, I want to add.
I just want to thank our patrons. Is this?
It has something to do with the Cup of the Day. That was actually the first time I did just the videoing with your camera, like with the iPhone camera setup.
Yeah.
That was the first time I did that. In the other things, like the Fight Night, I had the big DSLR that I knew how to do.
And with the games as well. Yeah.
So I have no idea how the footage turned out.
Well, in the future, we'd have to do it in a slightly different way. But again, we'll talk about that. That's a different topic of what we want to do.
Looking forward to
that.
But
I just wanted to thank our Patreon supporters. We did actually say that, hey, what we want to do is we want to get to 100 Patreon supporters. And if we do, we'll do daily vlogs from the EJC. I'll get onto that in a minute, but we didn't reach 100 Patreon supporters. We got up to 64 Patreon supporters. Yeah. So I just want to thank, by name, our top Patreon supporters. I'd like to thank Matt and Hendrik and Joel and Sid and Kathy and Chris and Flo and the mysterious Mark and Bethany and Juliana. You still support me, Juliana. That's really nice. Craig, Michael, Jeremy, Scott, Mark, Greg, Keith, Yuli, Rafa, D. Hongtae, Zach McAllister, who we'll talk about in a bit, Pierre, and then what's that? Rajesh, Sebastian. And then we're down to people who are supporting us at the $1 or €1 or $1 Canadian per month level. So thank you all to all our new Patreon supporters.
Thank you so much.
And I totally understand that if you want to no longer be a Patreon supporter after, after saying, I only became a Patreon supporter for the EJC vlogs and then I didn't get them. And yes, I understand it didn't work out.
No.
So let's get onto the EJC.
Okay.
And I want to frame this by saying, I'm glad, and this is a positive and a negative. I'm glad that we didn't try to do daily vlogging at the EJC this year.
Yes, me too.
Because it wasn't really the kind of festival where it wasn't organized well enough that we knew what we were doing, that we could shape a video per day. Often, I already know what I want to do in a day. Like, today, the vlog is going to be, we're going to spend some time in the gym, and then we're going to go to this workshop and that workshop, and then there's an open stage, and then we'll do something late at night, some chill out stuff, whatever, and then that'll be it. There's like a shape to the day which you can kind of predict and make into I don't know, make into a thing. I don't know, it's weird to say that, but you know what I mean? Like yes. I always have to feel like every vlog, or the best vlogs, have a fun story to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time that comes in the edit, but I'd say more than half the time that comes me just knowing what I want to concentrate on.
Absolutely.
You know, if I know later on there's going to be open stage, so like 5 or 6 minutes of the 10-minute vlog is going to be about that, which means now I just, you know, if I'm doing something, it's like, oh, actually I can relax because I know there's this thing later that I can point the camera at and make into a fun event.
Yes.
In the vlog. This convention, we never knew what we were doing from 1 hour to the next.
Yeah.
Or unlike, from the morning to the evening, or from the evening to later on in the evening.
Unlike one of your advices that we did in the previous vlog, was, look at the schedule and make sure you have a schedule ready to go.
Yeah.
That wasn't really what we did.
That vlog, which was non-juggling girlfriend at the EJC vlog, which we'll talk about. That comes up in my EJC experience too this time. Yeah, so that's the thing, like, it was really difficult. For example, on one of the days, we were like, let's go along to the open stage, the first open stage. Yeah. And we'd already explored the site. We knew what was going on. This was on like the Monday, I think, the Monday open stage. And the open stage was just in this weird place. It was like in this big open air area
really far off.
In front of
Nobody
a gym.
Really knew where yet.
Yeah, beside people's houses, like people's back windows just looked over, and it was starting late, and we got along there and we're like, we'll hang out in the gym that's next to it, and then, you know, we'll hang out in the gym and then we'll see the show. But the gym closed at 10 o'clock and the open stage was starting at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
was it really that late? No, it was really that late, wasn't it?
It was supposed to start at 10:30 or something, but then it got delayed, and then it was maybe starting at 11.
So maybe starting
at
11.
And then it got even delayed even more.
And then we looked at the stage, and they would set up the lights, that there was a line of lights like between the audience, like on this rack between the stage and the audience, which means that like lots of people are going to have some lights in front of them, and anyone does a high throw, it's going to go behind this lighting rig.
Yeah.
And then along the back of the stage, there was the same number of lights which were pointing directly into the eyes of the audience. And we bailed. We kind of like interfered with the queuing system and said, hey, let's get I want to hang out inside and juggle and stuff. So
we were kind of the interrupters.
Yeah, we kind of caused a bit of drama there just by like, hey, why are we all waiting out here on the street? That's obviously not the place. Like the place that we should have been was like hanging out in the hall, but that closed at 10 o'clock. Show doesn't start at 11. And so we got in there. The whole queue was up there. We were in our convention seats, our little camping seats. And then we were just like, nah. And we just noped out of that event and went. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm so pleased that I wasn't doing a daily vlog.
Yeah.
Because by the end of that, the vlog would only have been about how much I was annoyed about the open stage starting that late and then not being very good. Actually, I don't know if it was very good. I know some people enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
You know, but the acts that people had seemed to most enjoy, I'd already seen before, would have sat there. We wouldn't have been able to sit near the front because everyone else is sitting on, you know, or we wouldn't have got in, like, even though we were the first ones in the queue, we queued up wrong and we'd have been sitting near the back probably by the time we got in anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And the lights would have been shining in our eyes. So that's what the vlog would have been about. Another example is that the videos that we did make, I made a video about the Diablo battle, and I was like, this is one of the most hype events. This is the introduction to the video.
Luke was really excited.
I know, I was really excited. And it was a really fun event. It was like one of my highlights of the convention.
It was
very good. And then we recorded an outro to that video, which is me pretty much saying, the level wasn't very high. It was pretty much like the 5th best Diablo battle I've seen at EJC.
Yeah.
The top players didn't seem to do very well. They do randomized seeding, so like the second best Diabolist can just go out in the first round. It's really, it's a badly designed competition. And also, no Taiwanese Diabolist there, so the level was a bit lower. Yeah. And so we were like, we ended up complaining, but I couldn't put that in the video because literally the shot before was somebody doing so well on stage, crowd surfing across the back, literally, you know, someone doing so well. I can't remember his name now, but the Chilean Diabolist who won, bit like lifted onto the shoulders of people, jumping them down, big thing for the people, you know, and they all got together, everyone taking part in a big thing, yay, all cheering like that. Cut to literally from crowd surfing to me and Juliana going, not that great. Seen better. It wasn't really as hype as I expected. So I just didn't include that in the vlog.
Especially because when we were on our, not actually on our way, but we were in the hall before the Diabolo battle. Yeah. And there was one of the contestants, and he did an amazing 5 Diabolo low whatever.
Well, no, he did a 4 Diabolo routine and then 5 Diabolo. He looked like he was training for the show.
My mind was blown, and then he said, oh yeah, you should go, it's a really high level and stuff. And I thought, yes, this is amazing what they're doing. But then lots of people were really droppy. And
it just messed up a bit.
It didn't work out. So, I mean, it was still a great event.
I really enjoyed. Again, this isn't really to say the Diabolo battle wasn't good, but literally this follows up, like say in the Azores, where Pen Zen was doing, like the first time anybody ever performed 5 Diabolos low self start on stage was in that.
Incredible.
And the crowd all knew what was going on, and it was like one of the most hype things. And in Almere as well. I'm not sure if you came along to that, but in the finale there was it Joe? I can't remember, a Taiwanese guy who wins all of the Diabolo battles over there because he's got like 3 really good, or he's got 6 really good 30-second routines, and you need to do a 30 seconds and another 30 seconds, and they go from round of 8, semi-finals, and then the final. But at the EJC there's more people, and so he had to spread that out, and then in the final he had to do 3 times, and he literally ran out of the coolest shit. Like all the cool shit was in the semi-final, and then he had like one more thing in the final, and Robin Spinelli just came along there with like 4 Diabolo chicks, like and we're like, oh yes, of course, that's how you win. You just have like 2 more things. George, I think it's George is his English name that he goes by.
The tactics, there are tactics, and
and that a lot of that seemed to be missing. Again, even though I enjoyed it, it was less hype than previous EJC battles. So, and that's the thing, time and time again through. So I don't want this review to be negative, because here's the thing: I had a really good EJC.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah.
But it would have been really difficult to make a good daily vlogs, which wouldn't always be about the bad organization of things. So what I want to do is I want to leave some of the bad organization stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I want to run through. Let's do it this way. Let's run through the schedule. But I want to make my main point about the schedule now. Okay. Because it's going to come up, I think, if we go through the schedule.
It has to, yeah.
So what they kept on doing is starting events late and changing the times, and there was no source of truth, because they would change the time of something and you had to just like magically know what was going on. It was written on a chalkboard, and I think the chalkboard was normally the true thing, but even then it was like aspirational, the schedule.
I think what happened here was we had 3 sources. We had online, the website, there was a schedule there, which over time during the week kept changing. Okay,
so it felt like it was being updated. So
it was being updated, and you thought, oh, this is the true thing now. This is we always go to the website, and it's okay. Then you had actually a booklet. At the, it was given out. I didn't actually have one.
And you could also still download that as a PDF from the program. So you're like, oh, I'll just take the version. But no, that was already done weeks before.
Of course, that is then totally dated if you have any sort of updates. So, and then there was the ominous black chalkboard, where during the week at some point, I think it was maybe on Wednesday, it started being the source of truth.
Yeah.
But then later in the week, even later, like on Friday and Saturday, they put out the chalkboard in the mornings. Yeah. And you thought, oh, this is now the updated schedule.
No, but then it would keep changing.
Then it kept changing.
So people were having to keep going along to the chalkboard, take photos of it and send it to them. But then, again, even then the chalkboard, which maybe was the source of truth, that also... And they never like wrote on the chalkboard last updated, Wednesday 10 p.m. or on the website last updated, whenever it was.
You never knew.
Or they weren't deleting past events from the top. So you go, oh, what's the last event mentioned? Oh, the last event mentioned was at 10 p.m. on Wednesday, which means that everything since then is... No, not that kind of stuff. Again, these are just solutions that you could have in mind. If you're having an online schedule or a chalkboard schedule, put the last update time, so you know if anything's changed since the last time that you looked at it.
I forgot one more place where they actually talked about or sent updates about scheduling. That was also online on social media, on Instagram stories. Sometimes there was like, oh, this is running late, this has changed from here to there. So it was 4 different places.
And again, I just want to say what's really difficult is with the Instagram. Again, this is the stuff that I actually wanted to talk about at the end, but again, let's just get this out of the way, because this was my main gripe about the entire convention was this. Like on Instagram, it was one Instagram account for the EJC.
Yeah.
Sometimes that was about hyping it and vibes and like, check out this cool stuff that's happening at the fire gala.
Yeah.
Check out this cool workshop. Here's something fun happening in the gym. You know, it was just general like, hey, and sharing other people's stuff. And then in amongst all of that was like, very important announcement. This show has been moved from this location to this location.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's some people doing some fun club juggling. And you're like, no, we need two different accounts. One, which is EJC official or EJC info, and the other one which is EJC socials or EJC hype or whatever. You know, two different things for two different reasons.
Also, one really major, I'm now not calling it a mistake because it was a mistake. And the first day, what they did on this Instagram account in the stories, they shared literally everybody's tags of how they arrived there.
Yeah.
So it became a massive long story.
Yeah, and I just muted it.
Exactly. And that's what happens. You train people to say, okay, this is too much. I don't want to see this. Yeah. And then they miss out.
Yeah. Like I checked my iPhone data usage. Mm-hmm. And like last month or whatever it was, the month that included the EJC, because I was on there so much, looking at stuff and refreshing and seeing everything that was going on around, it was like half of my data. Like of the 20 gigabytes that I get in a month, like 9.8 of that was just Instagram, and a lot of that was just getting information, you know, into and out of the EJC stuff. Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, after all of that, having like 5 different sources where you're never quite sure which one is the latest source of truth of what's happening with the schedule, then you would get to an event and it would start 45 minutes late.
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, so the Diablo battle is starting now. Actually, it's going to start. It's not going to, like, people get there early because they think, I've got to get there early to get in and get a good seat, which you do have to do. Yeah. But everybody is in the tent like by 5, say if it's starting at 8 p.m. or whatever. Use that as an example, 8 p.m. But it could start at 8:05 or 8:10. Yeah. And anyone who comes late just gets in there. And then they're like, it started 45 minutes late. But afterwards, it's scheduled at 10 p.m. The open stage was scheduled at 10 p.m. in another location. Yeah. But they say, but what if people want to, and they decide this after the Diablo battle is already beginning. What we should do, we should wait until the Diablo battle ends, and then we should start. With the
open stage.
Yeah. And then we should start the open stage. The idea being that what if people want to go to both? Here's the problem, that if people want to go to the open stage, they go, well, I can't go to the Diablo battle because it's probably going to start late and run long. Yeah. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to the open stage. So they turned up at the open stage at 10 o'clock or beforehand to get a good spot with the seating in the audience or wherever. Yeah. And then it starts an hour late because the Diablo battle started 45 minutes late and they've got to give it enough time to get on. So they're waiting around an hour. And the people who went to the Diablo battle, well, I said, I'm not going to go and start a show at 11 o'clock. Not even going to bother. Yeah. So people who go to the Diablo battle don't go to the open stage. Yeah. And the people didn't know they could go to both. So they don't go to the Diablo battle and then go to the open stage. And everybody is unhappy.
Yes, but everything's starting late. Also, what happened was that a few people, like there was, let's say not a few, there was a noticeable amount of people who then actually stood up during the Diablo battle. Yeah. Towards the end, when the open stage was meant to start, then they left. Yes. And then, of course,
because
they didn't
know. Yeah. They didn't know that the open stage wasn't going to start. So, literally people who wanted to go to Birth get up and leave before the Diablo battle. Yeah. And the same thing happened at the open stage that we went to. We only went to one open stage. But there was a tribute to a juggler who died this year, or earlier this year, or late last year, New Year's time, Joseph. Yeah. And in that case, they didn't start the open stage on time. So it was going to run over. But this tribute event, which was happening at, 10 o'clock or whatever, they wanted to start that on time because, the guy's parents were there and other stuff. And so then loads of people were getting up out of the open stage and leaving that because it started late. So people getting up and leaving event to go to another event, never knowing. Like sometimes they'd be like, oh no, I have to leave this event now because the other event's going to start on time. Yeah, sometimes it does. Yeah. Other times, oh no, I should have stayed until the end of the Diablo battle and I still could have seen the first act of the open stage. Yeah. Here's the solution. Yeah. Start everything on time and make it clear that there's a gap between. So say Diablo battle, 8 p.m. to 9:30. Yeah. Open stage, 10 p.m. And you're like, great. A half an hour for me to leave there, go back to my tent, get a drink or whatever, get to the next show. Start and finish times. Put them both in the schedule and make it, and then start things on time. Yeah. The other thing to do is to make it clear that they are clashing events and you can't go to both. 8 p.m. open stage. 8:15 Diabolo battle. So people are like, oh, right, so they're not going to start at the same time, but there's no way to get between the two. And if one starts 20 minutes late, I'm not going to be leaving before the end of it to try and get to the other one.
Yes.
It's always this halfway between the two events. So I just want to say that shaped our week quite a lot.
Yes.
By where we'd be like, oh, do we have time to get across there? Not really sure. Well, let's go to this other event. And by the time we get there, we're like, we're going to be waiting 2 hours now for this event. And actually what we need to be doing is getting some food. And so we'd go over there and then we were like, well, we're too tired now. We've been chatting here and stuff. So
I have one other solution here.
Okay, what's that?
Which is totally possible to do. If you have a host on stage, you have the host at the Diablo battle that could have said, look, people, we have a delay here and we're gonna the open stage is gonna wait until the Diablo battle is finished. Everybody who wants can go there. But then also at the open stage where people were already waiting, there would have had to be the same announcement. That had to be coordinated.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
You can't
expect the people in their individual events to be coordinating between them.
Of course.
That's the thing.
Yes.
It's always like, oh, that event's happening over there. Well, let's just wait for it to start. Is that a good idea? Yeah, and it sounds like a good idea.
Absolutely.
But it just makes everybody annoyed.
Yeah.
You know.
Half the people will get the worst of both.
And then, like, they did this in the open stage that we were in. They did, like, all of the people who wanted to go to the Joseph Vayate tribute went over to the tribute.
Yeah.
And then in the open stage itself, they decided to have another tribute where all of the people who didn't care enough about the Joseph Vayate tribute and didn't leave early to get across there were asked to do their own tribute, which again, it was nice and it was like effective and emotional, but it really did feel like a secondary thing to say, oh, we're going to make a lot of noise now. Like instead of a minute silence, we're going to make a minute's noise.
Yeah.
And it was good, but I'm just like, this is, you're now like putting a weird downer on the show before the last act. Because you want the other one to start on time, but you want to acknowledge it, but it's going to be here, and everybody who wants to be there was already left. Anyway,
it's really tricky to make right choices at that moment. But
from there on, that's my main gripe, my bane. You know, if we're going to do a high-low gold crush bane surprise, my bane of the convention was scheduling. There was 4 sources of truth.
Yeah.
None of them were true, and everything was floppy.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to not have a floppy schedule.
Yes. So the scheduling, and I would add in the same point the like internal communications with the jugglers.
Yeah.
Like apart from this, we also organized events.
Yeah.
And we had a really hard time to find anybody who were in charge of schedules.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to update stuff. So that's
we were just like, hey,
thing.
This is still happening at the time, but in a different venue. And we tried to get this on Monday. And Thursday came around and we still hadn't managed to update the official schedule on the website or have any Instagram post about it. And we kept on going to the info point.
We were not the only ones.
We kept going for the info point and saying, please, can this be updated? And they'd be like, yeah, we'll put that on the list, and it just never happened. So by the time we organized the fight night qualifications, I think most people knew where it was, but if anybody had checked the website or the program,
they would have gotten to the wrong place.
They would have gone to the wrong place.
Yeah.
All right, let's now go through the schedule and say some of our favorite things at the EJC that we did. I'm going to go with the PDF schedule here.
Yeah.
So it started open doors and stuff. We arrived pretty much like in the afternoon, like 5 p.m. on the first day on the Saturday after driving 3 days across Germany and France and Spain. It was a big drive, but we don't need to talk about that now. I just want to say we did over 5,000 kilometers of driving to get to the EJC and holidaying afterwards.
That's half the kilometers we normally do in 1 year.
Yeah, no, that's more. Like often we'll do 10, our average is about, the car is 8 years old and we just passed 100,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So it's on some years, so we did some long drives, but the last few years that's a big jump up in times.
Absolutely.
So there was like, it just says some things. It was always weird because they're like Freestyle and Wheels Association Soul Wheel at skate park. We actually went around and found the skate park. It was like 2 hills away from the rest of the convention. I don't know. We went over there once only because we had bikes.
Yes, we did an exploration.
Yeah.
When was it? Actually on Saturday.
That was on the Sunday morning.
On the Sunday morning, we did an exploration with our bikes because we wanted to just explore the site.
Yeah, that was actually really good fun. I enjoyed that.
It was fun. Yeah.
But we realized some of those things, like the skate park, that I don't know. I'm not sure if anything
was happening there.
Maybe.
No.
Anyway, but they had weird things like in the workshop, like lightsaber workshop in the 24-hour hall, and then other workshops you'll be like, why aren't these other workshops? Anyway, that is a bit weird. Again, I don't want to do that, but then there was like a free tour. I don't know if anything's happened. There was an opening in the arena, opening of the Renegade board. Then they weren't allowed to do shows after 10 p.m. or something on the weekdays.
No, that all happened after the first open stage.
Oh yeah, which was literally in the people's backyards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, when I saw the schedule, that was published like, let's say 2 weeks ahead of the time.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and thought, oh wow, this is really great. It seems like they really talked to the council and they were really like up to date with all the city behind them. Absolutely, because there were literally the first open stage was scheduled to start at 10:30.
Yeah, here's here.
And
open
then
stage
also
in the
we had
tent.
like, it's music in the park starting at or until 3:00 or something.
Yeah.
I thought, they are really going to be very laid back and stuff. Until we then got to the Monday and the really disastrous open stage starting point time stuff.
Yeah.
And it just ran too late. And then I think what happened, then the council said, look, you have to be done with noise by midnight or something like that.
All right, less negative now. I wanted to go through some positive stuff. Sunday, we did our tour. We also watched a bit of some workshops. Then there was the parade, which we weren't quite sure where it was starting. And then the games where, again, we weren't quite sure it was starting because, again, I'm talking now about negative stuff.
Also, they changed the location
They changed the location of everything.
Start.
You couldn't read the map. The map was just sort of like badly drawn, out of scale. Like, who drew this? Like, I don't understand how they could do that map and go, yeah, that's good enough. Like, did they give that map to anyone and said, here's the site, find whatever that thing is? Because you just couldn't find any. Anyway, get to put aside the negative stuff here. The games. We did actually get to the end of the games, and I had a lot of fun at the games.
We didn't only get the end of the day. We arrived there after 2 games because the parade ended where the games were supposed to start. But the parade arrived there early.
So they just started the games early.
Yes,
so loads of people turned up and were like, what games have we missed? It's like, you missed this game, this game, this game. Like, wait, but it's 8:00 now and the games were meant to start at 8:00. Yes. It's like, they started at 7:30.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So
that's
we had
kind of what it was.
We missed a few games by then.
But then again, let's keep it positive.
Yeah.
The games were good fun.
The games were then going along, and it was a lot of people taking part as expected.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
They always tried. Now we're going to do a race game where nobody understood, and it took 25 minutes, and nobody could see what was doing, and everyone was standing around and couldn't see what was going on. It took a really long time.
Yes.
And nobody could see, and everybody was sure. And then they're like, that game's finished, and you're like, who won? Don't know, because the time to experiment with new games isn't when there's 1,000 people wanting to take part.
No.
Experiment with a new game when there's 20 to 30 people wanting to take part.
Yes. Did you win a game?
I didn't win a game. I tried quite hard. If people saw the vlog, it was a good vlog of the games. I had a lot of fun. I almost won the combat at the end. And I was the last one juggling. It's just I just dropped stupidly.
Yes.
And Julius, who was the last one, he was sort of like, "Oh, did I hit you or something?" I was like, "No, I just dropped." And then we replayed it, and Jochen won.
Yeah,
I guess. So games, I had a lot of fun at the games, and and then there was a bar area, and we spent quite a lot of time sitting in this bar area, eating pizzas and other food, and we would take our own food from our Airbnb over there, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
and
sometimes we did that.
That was our dinner spot, and we met up with lots of people there, and that became the
hang
place.
out with friends.
Yeah.
That was really nice. One question I have here now.
Yeah.
What about the toss-up? I know we didn't want to do.
Look, we can't touch on all the things that they did wrong at the EJC.
I know.
All right, Monday we pretty much hung out for a while and then bailed on the open stage, and that was our Monday, pretty much, wasn't it? Didn't do very much. No,
but on Monday we did the first cup of the day.
Oh yeah, but again, I'm going to do a whole video about that. Cup of the day we did every day.
That was part of our schedule.
Okay, Tuesday, what happens here? It's a bit weird to actually see here. Lots of EJC General Assembly. They decided that, of course, we know next year we're going to be in Dublin. The year after that, maybe. I'm guessing in Portugal, near Lisbon, I think.
I don't know exactly, but that was with the election.
Yeah, I have never been to an EJC or EJA General Assembly. That sounds like the most hell thing for me ever to go to. I wouldn't be into it. Did we see any shows on Tuesday? No, we didn't go to any shows on Tuesday either, did we?
Nope.
Wednesday, what did we do on Wednesday? Of course, we did our... oh no, I remember Tuesday in the evening was we didn't go to the open stage because we were hanging out with the Volley Club people and watching Volley Club.
Oh yes, yeah.
Volley Club now being the most popular clip on Instagram at the moment with like 150,000 views or whatever it's got up to now.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, because I had these. I only posted like 6-7 things from the EJC as Instagram reels. One of them was me doing juggling tennis. Another one was me just juggling my trick that I'm working on now. Yeah, I did a clip from the volley club, a clip from juggling tennis, a clip from Diablo Battle, and a clip from Fight Night. Oh, and the guy's doing 8 clubs, synchronous 8 clubs. And I was keeping track. I was like, oh wow, 20,000 views for the juggling tennis. That's really popular. And then the Diablo Battle, that really took off because that was shared around a lot. But now the volley club clip, that's the really one that's the one that's gone more viral. Or the Instagram algorithm is liking it. So yeah, that's why we didn't go to the shows on Tuesday. Yeah. Next up, Wednesday, we did go to the open stage on Wednesday, which I made a video about.
Yep.
I very much enjoyed that. It was a pretty good show. Yeah. And again, some acts that I'd seen before, some acts which I hadn't seen before. We were watching Sideways On, which was a bit of a pity with some of the peoples and other people. And there was kind of like... I don't know, it's weird to say this, but like one of my favorite things was the people who I didn't include their full act or whatever their big act was in the, or their main act was in the video, because they came out and they set it all up and they did one Diabolo trick with a whistle and he went, and then they walked off stage and you're like, oh, that's clever. Again, the show wasn't quite organized well enough to know that, oh, is something going wrong with the show? That's always the thing when you do something unexpected in a show and it's planned to be unexpected, but also schedules are mixed up and people aren't being introduced on stage and you're not quite sure what's going on. Yeah. So if someone acts like something is weird in their show, but also you're accidentally doing weird stuff in the show, it can kill the impact. But no, it worked out when they actually came out and did their full act, which I didn't include any in the video because it just didn't, like, it was so weird. It was like you wouldn't get why people were like really clapping for these guys by the end. So what else did we do? It says here Yo-Yo Battle, tribute Joseph Beate. We didn't do that because we were in the thing. Oh yeah, there was also these these workshops how to bring fun and heal traumas in the war zones, and that's the kind of thing that I'd be interested to go to, except halfway through a fun, relaxed day at an EJC. Yeah. I kind of wish those things, I'm not saying I wish they weren't scheduled at the EJC, but I also wish there was some way to take part in those discussions or workshops which weren't in the middle of my summer holiday, because I would like to see how people are supporting people in war zones and trauma and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, middle of my summer holiday doesn't feel like that's the time for me to put myself through that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the whole point, that you should maybe, but it's really tricky to interrupt the flow of a nice day with hanging out.
And I just wanted to say, because I would talk to somebody who was in the show, in the open stage, they said, oh, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster day, because the Gandinas were doing some workshop and they worked out this love parade, not love parade, what I'm saying, like this love dance, love walk thing, where he did some juggling and walking along, and it turns out it was building up to somebody proposing to his girlfriend, and her saying yes, and we were in the hall for that, and no matter what we want to say, we don't need to be negative about it. Even we're really not a big fan of public public in front of a crowd marriage proposals.
It maybe was all consensual. Maybe they really both really were into it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, just for me that feels a bit rough to put somebody through. Anyway, all really good. So there was a big high, but then there was also the Joseph Beate Memorial, which was like, and then during the show itself there was somebody doing a ghost story, and then there was that tribute to Joseph in the open stage as well. And it's sort of like, whoa, this is we're going up and down after the ghost story. Oh, it was Valerie who did the boat one,
with the oar, boating oar,
with the boat paddle act or whatever it is, the boat paddle. And it's just this weird thing. You're like, oh, that's it's weird that like the emotional journey that an EJC can take you on, and we're just sitting eating pizzas afterwards, going, oh, this is weird. Yeah. Anyway,
we didn't also. I think there were a lot of these fire shows and fire open stages and fire galas and stuff, and I'm kind of like really sad that I didn't go to any of them.
Yeah, I would like to go to those, but they seem to clash. Like, for example, we were like one of the open stage on Thursday. We were like, oh, what do you want to? No, not Thursday, because that was Fight Night Day, wasn't it?
Yes,
so yeah,
it was
Wednesday.
Yeah, that was Fight Night. Yeah.
Wednesday, they're like, there's this thing happening in the gym, the Scandi Renegade, and then also outside was the Volley Club finals, and we're like, well, we want to support our friends, go to the Volley Club finals, and then there was also the Scandi Renegade going on, which, to be honest, maybe not my kind. Scandigade, the Scandinavian Scandinavian Renegade might not have even been my thing. But then I'm looking on Instagram going, oh, I wish I'd have seen Lauga doing that thing and whoever did that thing. And that was a cool thing that happened there too. And who ended up as the king and queen of of Scandinavian Renegade.
Yes.
So again, I understand that sometimes you're like, oh, I wish these things didn't overlap. But I'm not sure why the Volley Club had to be a midnight. I understand why Renegade should be a midnight event, or even Fight Night should be a midnight event or 11 p.m. event. But I would have, I don't know.
Well, the reason for the Volley Club thing was, again, organizational, that they only had these places from 11 o'clock. So I understand that. But yes, the Fight Night was at the same time as the Fire Open Stage.
Yes.
Fire Gala show.
Yeah.
And the pictures that were there, I don't know, but that was kind of like what I felt like. But it's certainly something fiery was going on outside, and it was... It looked pretty amazing.
I'm actually just looking now at the schedule, which isn't the latest schedule. It's just it's the PDF beforehand, so we don't know actually what was happening at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I don't mind things being scheduled at the same time, and because people who want to see the Fire Show are probably different people who want to see the Renegade and who want to see the Fight Night. These things and the Volley Club,
totally
they might
fine.
not overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would personally like it that if like some games which are like games. Like more sport events things and more early on in the day, and then the late night things can be late night, like a Fight Night in Renegade. They can have their own spot, or their own area in the gym if that's where it's happening, and then also like Diablo Battle and other kind of like show events which are like, oh, this is we're on the stage, we've got a host, doing that. Like it would be nice if they had like their own times of the day, but it was very difficult in Spain because we didn't mention that it was like 36, 37, 38 degrees on a lot of these days, so everything had to start at 5 p.m. or later a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But that was a good day. Thursday we organised the Fight Night qualifications. I didn't take part. I just did the organisation. We did the finals late night in the evening. We started on time.
Yes.
Or on schedule. Yeah. We started like it's scheduled for 10 p.m. and we started like at 11 p.m. and we started like at 8 minutes past 11, which is good enough time to get everyone to sit down. Like I can always start events on time. Why can't other people start events on time? I don't understand.
I literally have no idea why the Diablo battle couldn't start on time, because you need to rehearse.
Everybody was there.
Long.
Everybody was there. Yeah, it's incredible.
I have no idea.
Anyway, so Fight Night, big success. Jochen won again, if you've seen the video, but it was very dramatic. In
really
fact,
great.
I really liked actually how open it was as well, even though Jochen won. But it was like it used to be that so we've got some good German players or some people from Berlin, and we know that the last four, the semi-finals are going to be like it is with the Volley Club. The semi-finals are going to be 4 German teams. I'm glad that now with the EJC Fight Night, it isn't just that.
Yes.
There's
more. Yeah. There are more people from more different places who
we had a lot more
really
in the top 16 or in the last 12 who we featured, the last 12 players who we featured in the night. There was like 3 Israelis, a Dutch, someone from
Belgium who had a really big support.
Belgium
group.
Support, Dutch support, Germans. Was any British players? I can't remember, but and also last year as well with Wes, I say last year, like in Newark as well, with Wes Peden getting there and interrupting the German domination.
It's really good. Also, the big group of Israelis, like they're really supportive and really fun.
Great energy there.
Great energy.
And I know that's me just being self-centered, but I think the Fight Night
it came out really great.
I think the Fight Night's like the best event. Maybe not the best event, but like it's the most. It's like consistently like the most hype event, and you go along there, and there's going to be
good entertainment.
Fernanda did a great job of hosting.
Amazing.
So
she's great.
or not. I mean, I was hosting. I was doing the introductions, and then handing over her to do commentary, and so she was the hype. I was the information. She was hype, and I really like that split that you can do there. So really I can keep track of paperwork and who's coming up next and introduce people, and then I can hand over. And also, I was doing all of the music selection and sound, and because I was sitting next to the fader, I could actually like be riding the volume fader as I want, like to create the energy, and that worked pretty good until the sound system stopped working.
Just at the end, that was such a great
like in the last, it was like in the last 5 points or something, but then it worked again right at the very, very end, but just for the last few points of the final, I think someone trod on a cable or something. So that was Thursday. Friday, I don't think we did anything on Friday. Did we do anything?
We had to kind of relax and get back our
get energy again.
I think the Thursday was the longest day. We they stayed up until like 3 o'clock or something.
Yeah,
and
Friday.
I'm personally not used to that anymore.
It says here Fire Gala was on Friday. Oh yeah, Diablo Battle. So open stage 10 p.m. Diablo Battle was 10 p.m. It says here, but Diablo Battle was moved to 8 p.m. I think. And then also there was the Fire Gala and a Renegade. And that's, but I think we were back in hanging out in the bar or gym area as well, as we did late in the evening. That was the final cup of the day, which I very much enjoyed. And then we kind of were like, and that's us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then on the Saturday was the games, but not that Saturday. They actually did the Saturday on the first time. So Saturday was the main gala show, and I kind of wish that the main gala show wasn't on the final day. Like, it's one of those things that I wish the final event was like, on the final Saturday. We did have the games and the big toss up on the final day somewhere where it was big enough to do it. I mean, if I was making the schedule, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I was bit disappointed, because I really always love taking a photo of the big toss-up. And when there's like thousands of people throwing their stuff in the air, and that on the first day, or the Sunday or whenever the games happened, that kind of like really disappeared, because it was... in the evening, as it started in the afternoon. It was
dark by the time
it was dark, and also lots of people left already. It wasn't really a thing, and then you don't get like
the vibe.
The nice thing about the games at the end of the convention is that everybody comes together. There's no other thing scheduled. That's the games, and at the end, everybody goes.
And you know
to
what the last
toss-up.
3 games are going to be? It's going to be there's going to be a 7-ball endurance. There's going to be some combat, and then there's going to be a toss-up. And you're like, oh, everyone's happy. Know, it can work. All right, so and then Saturday, the gala show. What do you think of the gala show?
Good show.
Yeah, we got some good seats.
Good seats. Good solid show. I don't have anything spectacular to say about it, but it was a good solid gala show. It wasn't too long and too rambly and too
Bit of a pity that in the main show venue they still had lots of boxes. The sound boxes were in the way. And the final act. Which was Nikki, what's her name?
Katerina Nikiforovna.
Katerina Nikiforovna, which does a bounce routine. You're booking someone to be in a circle set tent, like a circus tent, in the round, and they book someone who did a bounce show in a V-shaped thing.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, we had a great view because we were like right next to the sound desk. Straight on. Perfect view for us. People to the sides might have seen a bit of it, but the people looking directly on from the sides wouldn't have been able to see anything because she's bouncing in a V, so all they'd see is some like balls bouncing like over the top of the thing,
which can be an interesting view.
All of the other acts, I'm just saying, every single other act in the show worked great. You had the people doing the aerial stuff, the person doing the bouncing with the people complaining about 6,000 or against 6,000 people dying in Colombia or whatever it was, which was a weird.
Nobody complained about anything.
No, it was no, I'm not saying complaining, but it was bringing attention to the second act. I just say the second act of the gala show started with this projection and this voice saying 6,000 people are dying in Colombia, and now this person is going to do an act raising awareness of it or whatever. And the act that he did was bouncing up and down the ball. And I was mentioning this the other day. Like, I honestly couldn't believe that the act that was dedicated to 6,000 people dying in Colombia was literally getting a big gymnastics ball and bouncing up and down on it, because that feels like a clown act. And I think there's a hard degree of difficulty going from 6,000 people who are dying in Colombia to, some extrajudicial killings by the police and the gangs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, and then going, and now I'm going to bounce up and down on this ball. Yeah.
Yeah, it's emotionally difficult to just
process that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach McAllister was good. His act worked really good because he was working well. We had 2 different 5-men juggling groups who did something, one with rings, one with the tubes. It was the
boom whackers.
Yeah, the boom whackers guys, and the ring routine was good. The host of the show did a perfectly good job of not hanging out too long on stage, being engaging. It doesn't matter if you personally found him annoying. It was whatever. He didn't get in the way of the rest of the show.
He didn't.
And the show moved on, and it started okay and ran through and ended after not a lot of faff, which is good. Some of the staging issues were exacerbated with the, a show that's meant to be in the dark, and the back of the tent, people just opening the back of the tent, letting all the light, and you're like, this is meant to be an act in the dark. Stop coming in and out the back. Some things where you just be like, no, during this act, nobody comes in and just station. Anyway, I don't want to problematize and solutioneer here, do solutioneering. But yeah, a good last act. And then after that, we were mostly just saying goodbye to people because all of our friends from Berlin, we're like the only people who don't have children now. And
almost. There are some others who don't.
Some others who don't have children.
You can count it off on 3 fingers.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. It used to be that some of our friends had kids and the rest of us didn't.
Yeah.
And now it's some of us don't have kids and the rest of us do. Yeah, and it's that way around.
Also, that was kind of a weird situation because we the people without children went into the first show with the other people with children.
Yeah.
And
we should have done it the other way around, really, shouldn't we? We should, and then we'd have like linked up with the people who'd been there and hung out with them in the last evening.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like faded. That last evening kind of faded away. We're like, oh, everybody is either like, oh, we're done with the convention, bye, and we're gonna get our kids to bed, or they were in the second show and knew that they were going to be partying late.
Yes.
And we kind of like fell through the cracks at the end there. We're like, bye, and we're looking around and going,
we said goodbye to the people with kids.
Yeah, and then the hall is really empty. Oh, everyone's either
and then we just left. And also we organized it so that we got everything that belonged to us and we took it back, and so we didn't actually return on Sunday.
No,
then there was another group meeting with the photo op.
Doesn't matter. We had a lot of driving to do and a new holiday to begin.
But I must say, and I'm probably taking this up front here now when we go, I do have a list of high-low crush and whatever.
Let's do it. High.
Yeah, shall we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
For me, the absolute high of this convention was actually meeting people. Yeah. Meeting the people that I haven't seen for 2 years, and also, it's weird to say, meeting people from Berlin.
Yeah.
It's weird that you have to go all the way to near Madrid to meet your friends.
Yeah, to spend time with friends,
But it was great. It was so nice. And of course, even though it was hot, yes, of course, but that was to be expected. The weather was great. Yeah. It was sunny and we hung out and everybody had the same complaint that it was too hot. But it was fun and we saw people, we chatted to people. I think that was my absolute high of the convention.
Well, I'm just going to skip ahead to my crush. My crush was all the people that I've not seen for a few years and started catching up with them. And also my crush was meeting the people, and we mentioned this before, who had watched the non-juggler girlfriend at the EJC. Yeah. We literally met people who said, this is my first EJC, and the only reason I agreed to come, even if it was just for a few days, was because we watched that video and the girlfriend, the non-juggler... We actually didn't meet anyone from the other way around. We didn't meet anyone who had a non-juggler boyfriend. I didn't.
No,
anyway.
I didn't either.
So it was all of these non-juggler girlfriends or the juggler boyfriend saying, thanks so much for that video. Yeah. That is the reason why my girlfriend decided to come. Other people said, because it was like, a good 7 or 8 people that we met who did this, 7 or 8 couples who were there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some of them were like, we arrived and we were going to camp. And she says, we're getting a hotel. And they got a hotel. And they're like, Luke and Juliana said, get the Airbnb, get the hotel. That's what you need to do. So those are my crushes, were the people who I met who had gone out of their way to go to the EJC, even if it wasn't, even if it would be tricky because, we've got kids, whatever, like Julia bringing her baby along, only 3 months old or whatever. And all the other people who it would have been really difficult to get to the EJC, but they'd be like, no, I'm going to go because it's the first one in 3 years and I want to make an appearance and want to see people and be part of the juggling scene and subculture and whatever.
Yeah, that was great. Also, not only this video, but also we met several people who stopped us on our way to somewhere saying, thank you so much for doing the vlogs, the previous vlogs, because then they got to learn about the EJC and what it means. And then they decided to go as well because of that. And this kind of feedback feels really good because I then know it's not just we just making these things and an anonymous amount of numbers of people watch these videos, but also people take important information and just know what they're getting into and then can make more informed choices about what they do and how they do it. It's really great.
My high was probably the fight night. And I know that's so easy to say, but Jochen coming back from 4 points to love down.
That was just
and
crazy.
Like me going, oh, it's happening. You know, like the vibe that I felt at the EJC in Newark, where, you know, Wes Peden was like going on his run and going through and winning and beating Jochen and doing all that kind of stuff and then getting through and winning. Like the high that I felt then was replicated. And I didn't know that. I wasn't sure if that could happen. And it's purely for me not taking part and purely putting 100% of my effort into the organizing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I can do that. My low of the convention, I mean, I don't think I have a single low point, but yeah, I don't think I have a single low point. It's all just worked into my bane of just like the scheduling stuff. So do you have a low point?
Well, yeah, that was my low point. Just the scheduling and the
that
way
can't be. It has to be a point.
Okay, a point. The communication with jugglers, like. I didn't never know who was on the team.
We've talked about that.
I know, but that is my low.
Yeah. Next up, goal. Your goal of the convention.
Oh, goal! I didn't even. I forgot goal.
Okay, well, I'll say my one. My goal was to run the Cup of the Day and organize fight night, and then, weirdly enough, not be overwhelmed by trying to do daily vlogs or not put that effort into it. Even though I did in the end upload, I think 3 different videos from the EJC.
Yeah,
I did so instead of doing instead of not doing 7 daily videos, I did 3 videos while I was there.
Yeah,
and then 1 afterwards, and I've still got 2 more to go.
But really good.
It was actually really nice to go, I can relax as well. So my goal of having my first EJC back, not like because we didn't get the 100 Patreon supporters, not having to go please them and actually just take them off. That was my goal, and I succeeded.
Yeah.
That in the mornings, like some of those mornings when we got up and I was like, oh, I don't have to do 4 hours worth of video editing and uploading and stuff right now. Yeah. I can do something else, and we went off for a bike ride or whatever it was, you went off for coffee and I didn't feel bad about being like, oh, I'll
just
see you, whatever, like that.
Yeah, I know my goal might not be what people want to hear.
Yeah,
my goal was not to catch COVID, and I know it's bad to talk about this, but I didn't, and we both didn't. Hopefully,
that was my surprise of the convention.
Yeah, so I made the effort. Yeah. Every time I went into a hall, I was sitting there with my mask on. Yeah. And I don't know how much that contributed, but I think it did.
We didn't catch COVID. Yeah.
Yes. So that was, but also I juggled a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. My surprise was neither of us caught COVID, because like it was so difficult, and it's really difficult for me to be organizing stuff and doing all that kind of stuff with a face mask on. It's really tricky to get through and to have training sessions. So I was like, okay, like when I'm in the shows, yes, I'll put a face mask on. If I'm just walking around, but any time that I need either to breathe or to communicate, I'll take the face mask off. And we got through it. It wasn't too bad. A few people did get COVID.
Yes.
But
I think probably more that we don't know of.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah.
But not us.
Crush. My crush. We haven't talked about my crushes. Your crush. My crush is, it might have been before, is Fernanda. She's just such a precious person. She's so outgoing and bubbly and so fun and nice to talk to at the same time. And also, she and her husband, took over the Instagram of the IJA. They did an Instagram takeover and made these stories and from
the open stages and stuff.
And the footage that they got was always really high quality. I really enjoyed watching what they put out there, much more than, let's say, some of the more official footage and photographers that they got for the EJC.
Yeah, you know what to expect. You knew what to expect from the IJA takeover. You didn't know what to expect from the whoever was pointing the camera for the EJC official.
But that was great.
Account.
I really like her, and also she performed in the Gala show, and I love her act. I think it's just so good.
Crush. I've said mine already with the people who I met who'd put in the effort to come along.
Put your bane already.
My bane was the scheduling.
Yes.
Do you have one?
My bane was actually, and it's weird to say, the topography of Tres Cantos.
It was like hilly.
Because if you look at the map of Tres Cantos on Google Maps, and we did beforehand because we had an Airbnb and I made sure like we can walk it and stuff. So I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's great. It's maybe like a 15-minute walk. Until you get there and you notice, between us and the convention site are literally 2 hills. Like you have to walk up one and then you walk down and you walk up
actually
again.
really steep and in 38 degrees. That's hardcore. Other people were like, oh yeah, my hotel is just over there. No, that was 3 hills away.
Yes. Also, and that's weird to say, but they put the location of the convention, they put a marker on, like, I don't know where, when you arrive, you arrive here.
It's just bad organization. We don't need to talk about that. It's
literally on the other side.
Yeah.
So even if you did prepare for the convention site because you saw the map beforehand, you had no idea really what you saw and what you got.
And we don't need to talk about... Okay, let's wrap it up there. Surprise. My surprise was didn't catch COVID. Your surprise was...
the mostly clean bathrooms.
Yeah. They actually kept on top of it, didn't they?
Really great. Really good.
So they did do some organisation, right? So to finish off here, I just want to talk about a few bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Final organisation stuff.
Yeah.
Because the organisers from the EJC last year,
Newark.
No. The EJC organisers for next year said to me, hey, we caught this and we caught these other things. They're actually sending me pictures of like speakers in front of the audience, like between the stage and the audience saying, we asked them to move these, but they wouldn't, like, face palm emoji. And I'm like, lol, back again. And they said, okay, there's obviously things that we missed here. What are the things that we could improve next time from this, which we could, that we could learn from?
Yeah.
And I've already obviously touched on some obvious things, but here I want to wrap up here about things that could be improved. So instead of framing it as being a badly organized convention, more like what lessons can we learn for the future and how can Dublin EJC in 2023 be better?
Yeah.
And I think the obvious ones are make one source of truth for the schedule, or if there's multiple, make sure that they're all updated at the same time. So if there's a chalkboard and there's a website and there's an Instagram, make sure that all of them are updated at the same time. So that's one person's job is just to update the schedule.
Yes.
Make it so the Instagram account or the Twitter account or the Facebook account, whatever it is, isn't for general chit-chat, isn't for hyping things up. There's one account which is just called EJC 2023 scheduling.
Yeah.
Anybody who has any questions can look there. Now, that schedule changes could also be shared to EJC 2023 socials or hype or whatever it is, or community, whatever the other account is. But have one which is just schedules and information. Yeah, info. It would probably be what it should be.
Yeah.
Info. And have one person. It's that one person's job is to look after the schedule, and they can be at the information point. And if anybody comes along there and asks, hey, what about the schedule? Them. We want to change the schedule. Them. We want to relocate something. That person.
Okay.
One person in charge of the schedule. That's
of course, because it's going to be a bit much for one person. Maybe they have two.
No, I'm saying at any time, at any point in the 24 hours.
And they need to know about everything.
Yeah. At one point in the 24 hours, you can pass this job off to different people, but there has to be one person who is like, right now, if you go to the person sitting in that chair in the info desk is updating the chalkboard, which is behind them with the main schedule, updating the website, and updating the social feeds.
And also everybody who has any change need to tell them.
Yes. And everybody who's changing the schedule, talk to them. Anybody who wants to know the schedule, talks to them. So that's that's one of my main things.
Yes.
The another point that I want to make is that lots of people are saying, oh, this is the worst. Like this, every time you met someone new, everybody had 10 minutes of complaining about the EJC organizing.
Of course.
However, this is not the worst organized EJC that I've been to.
No.
There have been worst EJCs that I've been to and worst organized EJCs that I've been to. For example, Munich EJC in 2011. 2011. That was the worst organized because the show venues are too small. The whole place was spread out. And also, when things went wrong, nobody had someone. You didn't have a place to juggle inside. And that's the key thing. At any moment when something wasn't going wrong or the schedule messed up or something was organized badly, you could just go to the main gym and have a fun juggling session.
Yes.
You could go to the other gyms, the 12-hour gyms, and just hang out and juggle. You could go to the bar and get a pizza and get some beer and relax, and it was working and it was fine. You could go, and at the Munich EJC, when something was going wrong, the fire marshals came in and shut down shows and cancelled shows and cancelled the gym. They would just come in and go, oh, there's too many cardboard boxes for the for the traders because the traders were in like the same building as the main gym, as the main hall. And they're like, too many cardboard boxes. We're closing the entire hall. Everybody had to leave the entire hall until the traders weren't storing things in cardboard boxes anymore, and instead had to put things in plastic boxes, and then they could reopen the gym. That's the kind of thing which nobody cares about. Nobody should be caring about. It should be sorted in advance. But when something goes wrong at the EJC, as long as there is one big main 24-hour hall for everyone to hang out and juggle in, it honestly doesn't matter what happens. And this is the thing that happened in Newark. They're like, oh, we can't use the show venue. Well, let's close down the main hall to set up for the show, because it's more important that people it's more important that people don't see us setting up the stage for the show and don't look at people doing sound checks or rehearsing. No, nobody gives a shit. No, everybody who was in a place where you were closing down the main show venue because there was rainstorms and windstorms and lightning storms, every single one of those people would have been happier to be in a big 24-hour hall hanging out rather than being made to wait outside in the rain while you set up the show. Nobody wants to be and the games happened in a horse barn over this way. You know, nobody wants that.
Also, I think you make it easier for yourself, because then it doesn't matter what weather it's outside.
Default, no matter what happens, always default to having an entire 24-hour gym
open for everyone,
open for everybody to go in and hang out in. Also in Munich, when people were laying down, you weren't allowed to sleep in the main hall, in the 24-hour hall. So as soon as, and then it wasn't even 24 hours, they closed it in the evenings anyway. So people would go down and lay down, and then they had security people and police or whatever, security not from the EJC but from like the venue, going around and waking people up and pushing people and saying, you can't lay down here. You're like, what? Why? I'm just laying down. No, you can't lay down in case you fall asleep, because there's no sleeping allowed in the gym. I'm not saying the 24-hour gym should be a place to be able to fall asleep in. I'm saying that, like, you need to be there. So that's the main thing. That's like, doesn't matter how badly organized the EJC was this year, because we had weather and because we had a pizza bar and a bar and a 24-hour
places
hall
to hang out. Yeah, that is important. Have places for people to hang out.
And we had an air-conditioned gym, so we're insulated from the weather, and we had a place to juggle. That's all we needed. And jugglers will then put on events there.
Yes.
There's an arena. The fire jugglers will start putting on events.
Yeah.
There's halls. People will just do workshops. Yeah. There's a hall. People will just do renegades and fight nights and volley club there.
People will organize themselves. Things if they want a show.
If they're allowed to. Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, that's my second point. Do you have a point that you want to say? Because I've got a few more.
No, that's there were some good points.
Okay, I made some videos about show venues and things like that, temporary show venues. This team didn't do that correctly.
Yeah.
They were setting up show venues which weren't optimal. Like, again, the only thing that matters is you be able to see the stage and see the person if they're standing on stage.
Also, don't put it in residential areas.
Yeah, also don't. Yeah, it's some obvious stuff. Don't think that's going to be a problem next year in Dublin.
Doesn't seem like it.
But we had some complaints about the games. I had some complaints about the scheduling of the volley club. I had some complaints about the sound system not working in the fight night, literally just breaking.
Yes.
I had some complaints about volley club scheduling. I had some complaints about I wanted to see Diablo battle as well, like the hosting of the Diablo battle. Here's the thing: all of these are games, all of these are sports, but there isn't one person who coordinates the games and sports events. And I think games events coordinator is a title that, to be honest, I'd volunteer for. But it's so much of this is like institutional knowledge, which just isn't passed on from one to the next.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly thought about calling the video I made about the games, there's 2 winners this game. Yeah. Because in the course of the video, and I didn't even include all the games. There was games happening where there was 2 winners that didn't even get included.
Yeah.
And games where I didn't see who won because it was just badly organized. But like so many times... Okay, first of all, there was 3 hosts of the game, so you were never quite sure who was in charge.
Yeah,
3 people had microphones.
You couldn't always hear where they were, and couldn't see them.
Couldn't hear where they were. There wasn't a proper way to know who was inside the game and who was outside the game.
Yeah.
And I honestly think with the games, you definitely need like a proper boundary to know who is still taking part and who is in the audience.
Yeah.
And I think what we need to do, and this is me thinking, this isn't something that you could just know off the top, but I think there actually needs to be 2 perimeters. There needs to be a perimeter where the audience has to sit behind.
Yeah.
And then there has to be a perimeter where if you're still in the game, you have to be inside it. And then there should be like a barrier of like 2 or 3 meters in between. So you have to mark out, and you can do this with spray paint on grass or a big rope or
tape,
cones or
whatever.
tapes or a fence or whatever you want to do. But I think there should be, if you're still taking part in the game, be inside the inner perimeter, and if you're in the audience, be outside it. Because so many times there was like at the end of the handstand, there was 3 people left. One of the hosts of the games was just helping somebody, just holding them up, helping them win
for no reason.
Somebody was in the middle, and then I was right next to somebody who was also there.
But so much on the edge.
Yeah, so near the edge, but literally 3 people doing the games, and one of them was so concerned about cheating and letting someone else win. Another person was standing in the middle, and then there was a guy who actually won, who was the last one in. But they're cheering, so because nobody knows who to listen to. And these are really easy things. And also the complaints about don't do limbo, don't do races, don't experiment with new games when you've got 3,000 people there wanting to take part or maybe taking part. Have a sound system which is big enough that works. Have one person always standing in the same place, which is next to the sound system, up high on a chair or on a table or on a plinth or something like that. It's like all of these are solved problems, but every new EJC team has to rediscover them new.
Yeah.
And all it would take is for someone, again, me or somebody else who knows these things, who's run EJCs, who has knows the pitfalls that EJC games fall into.
Yeah.
Just to we did a podcast about how to organize games. That's too much. That's like an hour-long podcast we did. That's too much for 3 Spanish people to do. But if I could sit down with people at the start and say, this is what you need. You've got a microphone, and you've got a microphone. Too many microphones.
Yeah.
1 at most 2 people with microphones.
You could say 1 person doing it in English and 1 in Spanish.
Yes,
totally
or something
fine.
like that. But there has to be one source of truth. There has to be one arbiter.
Yes.
They have to be fair, or they have to be very, very funny and entertaining. You can't try and be both.
Yeah.
You can't be unfair and disorganized, because then, literally 3 winners this game. 2 winners this game.
That's
so many
also
times.
not fair. Even it seems it's fair, it's not then.
Lots
really
of people care a lot about winning the game that they're in. Handstand endurance at the EJC happens once per year, and it's not fair to just fuck it up. It's not fair to the people in charge. It's not fair to the people watching.
Yeah.
So
Same
I think,
with the endurance games.
Same with the endurance games. But also, I think what there needs to be is that one person, again, I'm pitching myself for this job to the future EJC organizers.
Are you sure you're
I'm just saying, because I don't think it's a big job. I think it's literally the hour before the games, 1 hour before the games, sit them down and say, let's have a look at the list of games, and literally say, do not do that. You think that's a good idea? Don't do it. And also, instead, you haven't included 7-ball endurance. Definitely do a 7-ball endurance.
Yeah.
Don't do a game which you're doing for the first time now, where people have to take turns or it's a race. I think club passing, long distance club passing is one of my favorite games. It takes too much space at the EJC. There's just not enough space. There never will be enough space at the EJC for that many people who want to take part.
Also, you need to just know that crowds of people are big.
Yes.
And if you have a game where you need multiple rounds to kind of qualify people...
Nobody is good enough to organize that.
So
even
hard.
me shouting at people and ordering people around, it's too difficult for even me, who has done lots of large crowd organization, to do that.
Yeah.
But also, same thing happens with the Diablo battle. I told Priam when he was hosting it, look, there's one person standing to your right at the end of the battle. They're going to announce the winner. One person standing to the right, one person standing to the left. The audience, not everybody in the audience can see who the judge points to.
Yeah.
So we go 3, 2, 1, vote. The judge points to somebody, or the judges point to somebody.
Left or right.
You have to literally be standing in between them, holding their hands, and whoever wins, like in a boxing match, because this is a solved problem, because there's one's cheering, and they do it, and you don't hear who announces wins because everyone's screaming so much. The winner, you raise their fist in the air, you hold up their boxing glove in the air. It's iconic. It's really easy, and they don't do that. They're sort of standing there going, "Oh, yep, oh, okay," and they just then
and this all turn to
and then
look.
The people who are on stage see what the judges vote for, but then the two people go together and hug and high five and stuff, and you're like, who won? We didn't see who won.
Yeah.
Also, the host will do that, and then once a winner is announced, they will step forward, and the two people who we want to see on stage, like high fiving each other or hugging or shaking hands or whatever you do, they do it behind the host. And I told Priam this the other 4 years ago. I said, stop stepping. Like, Priam's really tall, but then the host of the EJC Diablo battle did the same thing, and it's literally like, I can tell them this like 5 minutes before the before the Diablo battle begins. Here is how you stage the end of the Diablo battle. I'm just slapping my leg. Here's how you do it. You stand there in the middle between them, you hold both of their hands, you raise the hands of the winner, then you step back, let people see them high five each other or hug or do anything like that. By then you should already know who's next on stage.
Yes.
Don't leave the bit of paper with the next people on stage at the back, and when everyone just goes down and go, oh no, I've got to decide who's going on next. Walk back, get out a bit of paper, unfold a bit of paper. No, already have the next people in here. And again, I've just said what I would say as the organizer of the game, or of the games and competitions coordinator. This is the obvious, easy, known solutions to these things. Which, why does it have to be rediscovered each time? Also, we weren't, at the start of I would say this with the games, what is being judged in this game with the Diablo battle? What is being judged in the Diablo battle? Say we're looking for creativity, skill, variety, and flair. Go. That's and that's what the judges are. So when somebody just does various whip catches with backflips, you're like, okay, that was very good. You can do a trick, whip catch, but you can't just do 8 whip catches with different forward rolls before the fun of and expect to win.
It's a really tiny thing, but it is so difficult for a host who has just never seen the thing and has no was this good? Was this bad? I had no idea.
And I'm not saying that the host this year did a worse job than the host. The thing is, Mark, whatever his name was, who hosted in Newark in 2019, he lost control of it, and it was like, okay, you each get one more go at the end in the final. You each get one more go, and they each took one go. Penzen didn't get 5 Diabolos, and then he just kept trying until he got 5 Diabolos. He should have lost that final because it was really clear the contract that he was making with the audience, the game he was playing with the judges and the audience. I'm going to try 5 Diabolos. If I get this, I win. And the other guy was like, I'm going to do cool stuff, but if you don't get 5 Diabolos. And Penzen just walked forward and tried it one last time and got it and won. And you're like, that's a real pity. There has to be a cutoff moment. We know that Penzen is going to try 5 Diabolos, but there has to be a time where if he doesn't get it, he loses. And you have to say that in advance. You have one attempt of 5 Diabolos, and if you don't get it, the other guy's pretty much going to win. And that drama was diminished, even though it was, he won, and he was the best Diabolist there. So if you go for the whole event, yes, he was the best Diabolist, so I don't begrudge him the win, but it felt like there was a moment being made there. If he gets 5 Diabolos, he wins. If he doesn't get it, and the other guy gets it. But then if you just and you can try as many times as you want to get 5 Diabolos, and we'll just let it run until you do. It's sort of
yeah. And the same with the games. What always happens is that they say during Simon Says or whatever, they have this okay, and then the next thing Simon says, the next thing is that and that. And then there's a whole time where people do or do not do the thing. And you need to count this down. And then by 3, 2, 1, everybody does it. And if they haven't done it,
they take turns. Yeah, that's up to the individual person running the games. But yes, I understand. There are ways, there are solved problems to this where you don't have to have this. And I just want to say that I think there should be one person who is in control, or not in control. Actually, I don't want to say in control.
No, but advising.
Is advising people to say, look, if you're going to do Volley Club, why have a massive long thing where in all the Volley Club groups, there's one German team and then random teams from around the place, and so that means the German teams don't get to play each other in the qualifications, and all of the non-German teams just get completely wiped out by the German teams, and it's the same German teams in the finals anyway. I would have a 2-tier qualification round. Get all the German teams to play each other and work out a ranking for all the German teams, and then get all of the non-German teams. I'm saying German as a shortcut to known good Volley Club teams, because there's going to be 8. It's 6 to 8 known good Volley club teams, then they all get to play each other. Like that's what they want. They want to all play each other and have have that kind of stuff, and then get all the non-German teams to play each other, and then match them up like in the quarterfinals, final, or whatever you need to do. Like pick them, have some playoffs to get through.
Yeah.
Because we know it's going to be 2 German teams in the final. It's going to be.
It doesn't matter about German teams. It is just about at that point, it's about. They don't have rankings, but you need to have the past performance.
Yeah. Also, don't have random seeding in Diablo Battle, because literally the 2 finalists could be up against it. Everyone has to qualify. You know pretty much who's going to be good and who's not going to be so good. Spread them out a bit. Have some seedings. And so I think there should be one sound system which can be used by all of these events.
Mobile one.
A mobile sound system which we know works, which isn't
with 2 microphones.
2 microphones and a way to play music through it.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be anything wireless. It can just be plugged in. The games can use it. The Fight Night organizers can use it.
Yes.
The Fight Nights in the gym can use it. The Volley Club organizers can use it. The whatever event needs to happen.
Late Night Renegade.
No, absolutely not. Renegade isn't allowed to use it. This is my point. No, it has to be a sound system which is just for games. It's only, and it's scheduled. So Thursday is going to be the day of Fight Night. Friday is going to be the day of Volley Club. Wednesday is going to be Diablo Battle. And each time that you need qualification processes and finals, although Diablo Battle normally happens in a big stage, or rather than outside or in the gym, like Fight Night and Volley Club.
Yeah.
But no, it is just for that. So the games can use it, and then like other things which come up, competitions that come up, which sort of like, the people with the devil sticks who wanted to do whatever devil stick game they were doing.
Yeah.
They can also use it, if it fits in with the schedule.
Yeah.
Cup of the Day, the ball juggling competition, they can use it. But it makes it so only one competition thing is happening per day or at any one time.
And they can rely.
And they can rely on it. Because at the end of the day, it gets put into a trolley, a trolley, and it gets taken away and locked in a room.
Yeah.
And it's not broken at Renegade. People don't spill beer onto it or lose it or play anything like that. Renegade or other people, they can have their own sound systems.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's one dedicated person who is in charge of scheduling games and competitions, who can advise people on the obvious things that they're going to get wrong and just can talk to them for 10-20 minutes beforehand, and also maybe be waiting backstage and say, look, you need to do it this way, like say, like if the games aren't going right, like tell people to sit down, do a bit of advice throughout the event if needed. But I think it can be like just a way that's, and also then anybody else who wants to run a competition, it's not all been doing through the main organizers.
Yes.
It can just be scheduled, with the games and competitions director, with the schedule administrator. They can get together and work out what times are best for these. So those are my big points that I would say, is that like, I think, and I say this as someone who's organized games and organized fight nights and organized other things
and competitions.
And lots of competitions and tried different stuff, created the British Young Juggler of the Year show, all these other bits and things that I've done. Like there's knowledge in my brain, and it's very easy for it to get out to other people's brains. And it wouldn't even take me that much time to do. That's the whole thing. Like, it's not like, it means Luke will never do daily vlogs again. It's like, no, because it'll just be half an hour before the games, or, an hour before the Volley Club, or, leading up to this. It's stuff that can be done in advance and then can actually sit back and watch it. So that's what I'd pitch. I think it should be one person's job, and I would volunteer for that job. I would be part of the organizing team and volunteer for that. But I do think a dedicated sound system, a big speaker or 2 speakers, 2 microphones, and a way to play music through, like the aux in, or Bluetooth way of connecting with music, or whatever you need to do. Probably an aux in. That's what's needed.
I know these things exist.
Yes, because sound systems exist. Get a sound system, get a trolley, put the sound system on the back of a trolley, and that's now just for games and competitions.
Yes.
Nobody else.
Yes. That's good.
That's my pitch. And of course, there's other things that went wrong at this.
One question here about now show organizer. Do you think that the equal kind of person, like a show advisor?
Well, there already is people who are in charge of special shows and show things. That's the thing. That is a position that exists. Like there is somebody who's organizing the gala shows, and another person who's organizing special shows, and they're scheduling renegades and things. Like there is already someone who's like in charge of that. There's a workshops director.
Okay.
And it's not like the workshop director doesn't know, like, in fact, in this case, I'm not sure that there was a workshops director, and they did know the Gandinas were doing anything.
There was if you had workshops announced then they were on the program, and if you didn't, they were all on workshop boards.
I'm just saying there's already people in charge of like wide-ranging responsibilities, like all workshops, come under this person. Shows come, except for maybe the Gala show, come under this one. There's someone who's in charge of the site. There's someone who's in charge of volunteering. There's somebody who's in charge of scheduling and printing and all that kind of stuff. I think there's enough competitions and games that take place that there should be one person in charge. Again, maybe not in charge, but coordinating all of that. Like games and competitions coordinator, who is there to advise and help coordinate and help with, technical stuff with that.
Yeah, because games and competitions for these amounts of people,
it's hard work.
Isn't easy, and we know that.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Let's wrap it up there, I think.
Okay.
A really fun EJC.
Yes, very good first EJC back after 2 years.
Yes, it was good to hang out with people. I really actually think next year, if we can make it work next year, I would really like to do daily vlogs again, because again, it does give a structure and a focus, and it's good to share that people. But again, I just want to say that you're probably glad I didn't do daily vlogs from the EJC, because it would have given a bad view into what the convention was, which was actually a really fun convention that we enjoyed hanging out at and juggling in. And we would go to the hall and juggle here and then go up and then also just bailing on like not going to shows was fun, not having to do that.
Which was also just relaxing. Like we allowed ourselves not to go to the show because we didn't have to do daily vlogging, because we didn't have to show things. No, but I'm just saying, on top of that, like that we could have made a vlog about it, but it would have been disappointing. And again, it was really bad. Like I actually had to say people when I was meeting for them for the first time, and they would start complaining about EJC organizing. I'm like, I actually said to a few people, like, I'm not interested in talking about the EJC bad organization. I know it, you know it, how you've been doing or what you've been up to, and I actually had to close people down because again, it could overwhelm people about like complaining, because it is bad that if you walk for 35 minutes in 38-degree temperatures and to an event which starts 45 minutes late, it's not fun. No, it isn't.
But also...
But I'm also guessing that the majority of the people who were complaining at the EJC about things, in the end, would have said, "Oh, it was I had fun, and that's a good time, and meeting people and learning new things and juggle again." I think maybe quite a few people haven't done that quite so much in the last 2 years.
I just enjoyed hanging out and watching people juggling in the gym, which is
and I think
such a big thing.
Such an underrated thing. And I haven't actually got in the juggling games. Ofek Raffaeli, he also talked to me about the video we put out about the non-juggler girlfriends.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he asked me, what is it what I do, how do I spend my time? And I must say, it is underrated just hanging out with people.
Yeah.
Just catching up, talking, watching the jugglers. That is such a huge part of my EJC.
Because for you, we're like, I've seen all this before, but for a non-juggler or for even a new juggler or for any juggler,
it's impressive.
It's a huge part.
What you see that people are doing. So don't underestimate people hanging out.
I need a bit of your drink.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to do a wrap up.
Hanging out and just enjoying themselves, and people will come together and organize stuff if they're bored.
Okay, we've gone on an hour and 20 minutes. I think that's a pretty good EJC review.
Yeah.
Again, I tried to keep it positive because it was overall positive.
Yes.
But there are some things I would change. Just do with some convention organizing stuff. All right then. And also temperature stuff. I'm not saying, hey, if you're having an EJC in Spain, how about having it in like September or May? But it's not that. I know that's not going to work.
Difficult.
I just really hope that next year in Ireland they're not counting on the best weather ever.
Yes.
Like they're actually counting on the worst
rain
weather
all the time.
They're hoping for the best weather, but they're preparing for the worst weather. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much for listening to our EJC review.
Yeah.
If you're watching this or if you're listening to this on the YouTube channel, because I'll probably upload a version for YouTube, thanks for watching. You can support us on Patreon. Go over to patreon.com/Luke Burridge. And check out the bonus podcasts that are only available in the past podcasts, which are only available to
44 of them.
Yeah, this is episode 44. So there's 43 previous podcasts that you can find. Some of them are reviews of previous EJCs. Others are just lots of different topics. And we'll be doing one again before the end of this month because this one was a few days late. But that's it.
Anything for the future to tell people?
No, go become a Patreon supporter, $1 a month, and you can keep it wherever everything. Otherwise, cool. Subscribe to please like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast on YouTube, or send us a message on Patreon or email or whatever. Yes. So that's it from us. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.